Welcome to Healing Grooves, where we celebrate the incredible ways music inspires healing, hope, and emotional well-being in our everyday lives. Whether you're joining us from home, at work, or on the go, we're so glad you've chosen to spend this time with us.
Yes, and today's conversation is especially meaningful as families and educators prepare for another school year. Music has the power to encourage us, strengthen relationships, and create positive environments where people can truly thrive. Joining us today is educational leader, singer, songwriter, and passionate advocate for creating positive school communities through the power of music and encouragement, Shahran Spears-Etherly. Shahran, welcome to Healing Grooves.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, we're glad to have you here.
And I am glad to be here. This is exciting, and this is going to be a great show.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a great way to start the new school year. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Okay.
So our first question, before you became an accomplished educational leader, and you truly are, you were first someone who loved music. Tell us about your relationship with music growing up and how it has shaped your life as well as your leadership.
Okay, I love that question. So before I was a principal, I was a little girl whose mom created music. My mom, and her name is Doris Jean Spears, for those Googlers out there. My mom is an accomplished blues and jazz artist. So music filled our home all the time. And she had the opportunity to sing and perform with some of the greatest legends of jazz and blues. And as a child, I even had an opportunity to meet some of those legends. Abby Lincoln and Von Freeman. Yes.
And your mom is on the East Coast now?
She's on the East Coast. She's in Trenton, and she still performs. She writes. She has like 2 books. She used to do a radio show, and right now she's undertaking theological studies.
Oh, wow.
My mother is 77 years young, and she is so intellectually curious. So, I can't afford to keep it slow.
I wonder if music has a lot to do with that, keeping that energy going over the years.
And what an inspiration she is to others, everyone, that you can continue to keep learning no matter the age, that the hunger it stays there.
Absolutely. Some of my greatest memories, we had this one Christmas when she invited all of her jazz musician friends.
Oh, wow.
And I know it's not for today's popular taste, but I remember chitlins on the stove, fried chicken, collard greens. It was great. But I share all that to say that even though I was surrounded with a lot of music, even to this day, I'm shy to sing in front of my mom.
Really?
And most adults.
Why?
Really? Yeah, it's intimidating. I mean, especially when I think about her wealth and her background. I just, even now, like if you ask me to start singing, unless I am really mentally ready, I'm not. And the biggest lesson.
You have a beautiful voice.
You do.
Thank you.
Yes. She does, everyone. She has a beautiful voice.
Thank you. And what I end up learning from that experience is that I wasn't called to sing or sound like anyone else. I had to learn that I was called to sound like me. Scripture tells us, make a joyful noise unto the Lord.
Yes.
He never said anything about it being perfect.
Right.
And so that was my initial journey into music and healing. And what I also discovered is that music gives you permission to heal. It gives you permission to laugh, to celebrate, to cry. It gives you permission to be angry and also to hope.
Yes.
Oh, man, what you said would preach right there.
It does.
Yes.
And for my own personal, music is my barometer for stress. When I'm not singing, that's how I know I'm losing myself. And so if there's anything that the listeners out here receive today, it's important that you hold on, discover what your song is. And your song could also be something like poetry, cooking, dancing, which, by the way, you could do all of those things with
Yes.
the backdrop of music.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
do that, because when you hold on to your creative prowess, so to speak, you're allowing God to reveal who you really are.
Yeah. You can be yourself.
Right.
Your authentic self.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. And as an educator, I know that you have probably used music as a
Yes.
gateway,
Yes.
a segue for your students. And how do you use that for them to express themselves, whether it's happy, sad, discontentment, lack of I don't know or I can't do? How do you use music to inspire them to say, hey, you are special. You, no matter what, everyone is different. Tap into your own genuine self.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Speak on that. So
Yeah.
I've been in education since 1998, and before I was a principal, I was a teacher. So one of the things that I initially did was for every student in my class, I would sing a original jazzy, bluesy rendition of Happy Birthday.
Oh, wow.
And it was so important that each student got that in my class, because every student in a teacher's classroom deserves to be seen.
Yes.
That's so vitally
Seen
important.
It is.
And heard.
Seen and heard. And then when I transitioned from the teacher role to the principal role, you know, one of the things I realized is music is not just here to help us celebrate. It's also a powerful tool to help students regulate their emotions. There was a little girl in my school who struggled with self-esteem. And rather than give her a lecture, oh, you're beautiful, you're great, I pulled her into my office and I started playing Rihanna's Shine Like a Diamond. So, you know, let that sit with you for a minute, because now we're listening to the song. We're analyzing the verses, the chorus, the bridge. We're talking about how it makes her feel and how she should feel about herself. And that's one of the greatest powers of music. We can easily give someone a lecture or a script of something, but music has a way of touching us that words just can't reach.
Right. Tapping into the emotion.
It taps into the emotion. And then, you know, as I went on through my principal leadership, I've been very intentional of creating a building where music isn't just about celebration, it's also about awareness. It's about values. So during our cultural heritage months, like Black History Month or Hispanic Heritage, I would always use whatever funds I had to hire musicians and dancers and singers.
Love that. Everyone knows I would do the same thing in my classroom.
right.
Oh, absolutely.
We did a jazz band, our second graders, and we just had a ball with it and brought in the musicians and even had them pretending to be Dinah Washington or some band managers and all, and interviewing each other, and they had to go into character. So yes, and that music, that stayed with them. Some of them wanted to become musicians after a while.
And it shifts the atmosphere.
It does.
Yes, it
really
brings a
does.
positive vibe and a positive energy into the atmosphere, and it makes it feel safe, like a safe space.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you know, we know the students, of course, are prime and first and foremost, but so is staff.
Yes.
And their regulations. And I know that the staff knows that you love to sing, and they love to hear.
At least I think they do.
Yes. So let's see. Now, educators, we know
Yes.
educators going into this school year, we want you to know that you are appreciated. I'm a former educator myself, but still dabbing in the industry. Educators pour so much of themselves into others every single day.
Yeah.
How has music helped you maintain your own emotional wellness? And what advice would you give to educators, or beyond the educators in your building, all staff members, whether they're working in food service, a custodial service, anyone, volunteer parents? What advice would you give to them if they're feeling overwhelmed as they start this new school year? They may be feeling a little anxious.
Right, right. So what that question reminds me, I remember one year I had to go to an important meeting with one of my first year teachers.
Okay.
And this first year teacher was going through it. She was going through the pangs. And coincidentally, so was I. So as we're, riding in my car, I'm playing Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City.
Oh,
that?
yes.
Ain't no love in the heart of the city.
Yes.
Ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love, it sure is a pity. Ain't no love, 'cause you ain't around.
All right.
Right.
Yes.
So I shared that because she was not familiar with Bobby Blue Bland at all,
Really?
much less his catalog of music.
music, yeah.
And at that particular stage of my life, Bobby Blue Bland was my constant companion at the long nights of school. And so I'm sharing all of this with her. Long story short, she bought the album. And that first lesson, it taught me that healing is contagious.
Yes.
When you share your healing journey with others, you give them permission to heal themselves. And that is another brilliant nugget about music in and of itself. You know, music won't get rid of your struggles, but what it will do is strengthen you to walk through those struggles.
Yes.
And when you use music, good times and especially during the bad times, what it also does is it helps you remember that what you're feeling is worthy of being acknowledged. So what I would recommend to anyone, to teachers, leaders, and everyone, I want you to connect to that creative side of you, because that is God's way of always reminding you of who you are and who you were meant to be. That's your lifeline. That's your bloodline. And like I shared earlier, my barometer for stress is if I'm not singing, I know I've lost myself. And unfortunately, when we wait until we're burnt out and crashing out, you know, don't do that, because that's usually the first thing to go. What gives you life is the first thing we sacrifice.
Yes.
So keep it going and keep it as a rotation in your life.
And you hit on the core of why Sapphire Rays of Sunshine exists. It initially started out with an idea for children to love and keep the legacy of jazz music going, and even use that as a platform to be entrepreneurs. But over time, it got seasoned and mixed around, and something wasn't quite right. And when thought about it, the adults, if they're not regulated, if your emotions are not stable, if you don't know how to bring yourself back to center, and sometimes you need non-conventional ways of doing it, nothing that's always the same way, because it gets boring and it gets old. And music has so many different genres, and there's so many different ways, and like you just said a few moments ago, that your song doesn't have to necessarily be musically connected. It can be a poem, it can be a story that you write. So you really touched on a lot of why we do what we do. So it's that emotional healing, not necessarily that medicinal clinical healing.
Absolutely.
You can add that to it if you need it. We definitely encourage it. But add this to this part and you are well on your way.
So for the parents who are watching today, or any person that is acting in a parental role, what are some of the simple and meaningful ways they can use music at home to strengthen their family relationships, support learning within their home and in their community, and also help children manage everyday stress and their emotions?
Well, one thing we know in this particular political climate, life is lifing to everybody. So the one thing, parents, keep it practical, okay? Keep it practical. There are some very easy, low threshold ways to do that. One, create a family soundtrack. Have everyone in your family identify their favorite song and play that song once a week. And by the time you get through every member of that household, everyone feels seen and valued, because that's important. And you've learned something about one another. I would also recommend using music as a transitional piece. You know, when you get ready for work or for school, play something upbeat, high vibrational. When you come home from work or school, play something calming, you know, to bring the tenor down. It does a lot for your cortisol and your brain function. You know, also play music when you're doing everyday chores. How many of us remember Saturday morning song and Motown? How many of us remember that?
Cleaning and dancing. Dancing and cleaning. You weren't going outside until the house was clean.
Absolutely.
So, but you enjoyed it because music helped pass the time and gave you a rhythm and a cadence
And you
that
clean
you
to
could
the
sweet.
And you got it done quickly, so you can go outside.
And look what it did.
And
Created
absolutely.
these memories
Yes.
so many years
Right,
later that we
right.
talk about. And it created discipline.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Discipline to
Yes.
get the job
Done.
finished.
Yes. Yes.
And then I would also recommend have conversations about music. Why is that your favorite song? How does it make you feel? What does it inspire you to do?
Right.
Because as parents, one of the greatest gifts you can give your child is the permission to express themselves.
Right.
Yes.
You know, and with so much TV and what we were talking about earlier, TikTok, AI, and so on and so forth, we're missing that critical connection, that human connection, because that is the beauty of music. When people are ingrained in music and it surrounds their life, you end up meeting the person before you meet the title.
Yes. Yes.
So true. Because that music is telling a lot about who they are.
Yes,
Just
it
from the
is.
songs, how they react to it, it gives you something about their personality.
It's a highway to your vulnerability.
I love that.
I'm feeling that.
You can have
Way to your vulnerability. Yes. Yes.
Come on, music. Even David danced,
Yes.
right?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he
Yes, he
did.
did.
Danced
Yes.
and praised
Yes,
the
he
Lord.
did.
So,
Yes.
yes. Okay. Well, let's go on.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite topics. Veterans. I love the veterans. I love our veterans.
Veterans.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you for
for
your
always
service.
sacrificing
Yes.
for us. So, as someone with veterans in your family,
Yes.
you have a unique understanding of the sacrifices, the resilience, and the service that the military families often experience. So, coupled with your role as an educator and leader, you spent much of your life serving others on a continual basis. What role has music played in helping you remain resilient and confident through life's challenges and continuing to lead with purpose?
So one of the things that I want to acknowledge right off the bat that everyone should be aware of is that whether it's military, teachers, principals, first responders, anyone in a uniform, what they all have in common is that they are required to serve every day, all day.
Right.
But what they also have in common is while they are busy serving everyone else, they fail to serve themselves.
True.
And so many times, some of the very people in the household and home fail to pour into them. So what I would say to all of the ones you speak of, you know, because you're right, I am the wife of a veteran, I'm the bonus mom of a veteran. I would like to say that I admire the quiet strength that you carry as you go into your day-to-day of service. And I would implore you to claim your power of restoration.
Power of
Power
restoration.
of restoration.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to put boundaries on what that looks like.
Yes.
You know, so one of the things that I did this summer that was important to me was I took one of the bedrooms in our house and I'll use the typical term she shed, but I'm trying to find another word for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is my artistic den, you know, where I go in there with some lighting, and sometimes I just sit and I listen to an instrumental, classical music. Sometimes I'll sing a cappella. Sometimes I'll write poetry. You have to find a moment to pull yourself away from others. Even if it's about 5 minutes, but to sit and be still. Because it's in that stillness that God reminds you who you are meant to be. He reminds you of the creative gifts and talents you have to offer, not just offering to others, but you offer to yourself. There's research that when you sing and you hum, it lowers cortisol, it lowers your blood pressure, because in order to truly sing and hum, you have to be mindful and you have to be present. That means you're not thinking of anyone else but yourself and your God.
Like I think you had said, Raymonde, in our first episode about how cats hum the purr.
Yes. Yes.
That calming, you know, and people love to stroke them when and they purring and it calming down. So
Right.
you just, maybe when you're thinking about the vibrations and you were saying just that humming effect.
Right.
So even animals connect with God in different ways like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have also, before we go to our last question, we just want the audience to also know that we have a PDF on our website that you can download. And it's particularly streamlined towards women, but it speaks to much of what we were talking about today. Creating a soundtrack for yourself, learning to use music to help you cope through breakups and heartaches or healing physically. Those type of things. Music is just all encompassing. So we can't stress the value of it enough. And as you're going into this new school year, parents, we know you're going to get stressed at times. I, as a educator, would have to come home and close the door and say, wait, give me a moment before I can come in and be mom. Right, be wife, be that family member that is needed at that time. So just like you said, take a moment for yourself. Hum, pray, meditate. Get your favorite with your little pint of ice cream, not gallon. Okay, you want to keep this in perspective, right? And eat a little and listen to your favorite music.
Right.
Yeah, so Raymonde.
Yes.
You
So
had anything?
before we close, we ask each of our guests one final question. Here at Healing Grooves, we believe music has the power to heal, inspire, and connect us. If you could leave our viewers with one message of hope, just one, recommending one song, an artist, or a style of music that has encouraged you along the journey, what will it be? Give it some provocative thought and share that with us so we can share it with our audience, share it with neighbors, friends, strangers, people on the street, in the grocery store. But let's be a beacon of light for each other in a hurting world. And music can help us to do that. So please take all the information you have heard here, use it in your everyday life. It's be wonderful. And you know what you can call your place? That's the Reset Island.
Reset Island.
I'm going to the Reset Island.
I'm gonna need a moment.
I'm on vacation.
Reset Island. I love that.
So now, what is your affirmation? Because you are really big on that and mantras.
Yep, I am.
And Shahran was with us for our launch event, and she was one of our keynote speakers and spoke about these affirmations. So you have a song or affirmation you want to share?
I do, absolutely. And what I would also say is I would encourage everyone to normalize keeping a journal for writing down verses, mantras, and affirmations. We do that with Bibles, right? But do that with it so that way, no matter the song, you have it nearby. So today's verse I'm going to share with you is by Whitney Houston, I Didn't Know My Own Strength. And I leave that to you in the audience.
All right, thank you.
I didn't know my own strength, and I crashed down and I tumbled, but I did not crumble. I got through all the pain. I didn't know my own strength. You got this.
Oh,
You got
that was powerful.
Yes, that was
You
powerful.
don't know your own strength. That's
Yes,
right. All right.
Well, Shahran, thank you so much. This has been an absolute joy and a pleasure having you here with us today. And thank you so much for sharing your experiences and reminding us that music has the power to inspire, encourage, and bring people together in meaningful ways.
Yes, and thank you to all of our viewers for joining us on another episode of Healing Grooves. We hope today's conversation encourages you to find new ways to bring music, hope, and healing into your own life, your family, and your community. And if you so choose, feel free to give us a donation to help us continue to bring this message across. So until next time, keep the music playing, keep hope alive, and as always, as we say here on Healing Grooves, stay groovy.